What's up, everybody? This is Gio Garcia again with the podcast that we're supposed to do. Uh, Today we have Dan Chong from Chicago, right?
Correct.
All right, Dan. So, what? Tell us about a little bit of you. What do you do?
I have a restaurant. I run a restaurant. It's a family-owned restaurant. It's been in the family for about 40 years now. Currently, right now, we're looking to expand out, opening a couple ghost kitchens, maybe like two in the Chicagoland area, and then another one in Atlanta, Georgia. And from there, just expanding out. As far as the real estate, I'm still fairly new to real estate, but I am connecting with a lot of big people. So
Mhm.
excited about that and learning as I go.
Okay. So, important thing. I know the answer because I already talked to you, but like for
Right.
all the viewers, like, why do you want to get into real estate if you have a cash flowing business?
Yeah. So in my eyes, God forsake, but like, if something happens to me, uh, real estate at least will take care of my family. If I pass away, the rental, any income coming from the rentals, it goes directly to my family. It'll sustain them and keep them going for as long as they keep it. As far with the businesses, like the restaurant, for example, I'm always there. I always have to be there. So, and I seen it firsthand when my father passed away, right? My mother had to go into the restaurant full time, and every single day just keep going in, keep going in. So if something happens to me, that would mean, my wife or my kids would have to learn what I learned and go in and just run it. They won't have the freedom. They won't have that time freedom that real estate offers either.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was the you're looking for a legacy. You're looking to leave for your children and your family a legacy through real
Right.
estate, right? So you were telling me that you're looking for multifamily properties, right?
Correct.
Within anything? Okay. Which markets?
So pretty much any red state market, uh, it- any red state market besides Chicago. Chicago's a little rough because, if you're doing any evictions, uh, I've heard so many horror stories, right, where it takes 6 months, sometimes even a year, sometimes past a year to get an eviction going. So yeah, and but like for example, Texas, if you do an eviction, it takes like what, 2 weeks, something like that. It's pretty quick. It's pretty quick compared to 6 months or a year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So any landlord friendly states, right? Because I
correct.
think I think I was watching on Joe Rogan that every single state was red now. Like
That's true.
based on the last election, every single state was red. Even the swing states, all of them were red. So now they were looking at cities being blue now this time. So
Mm.
okay, so basically you're looking for something that has landlord friendly laws. I think Nevada is one of them where evictions, like I think it's 30 days. You do a 7 day, you post it on 7 days, and then if they don't vacate, then you can go through the eviction process. So I was just hearing yesterday from this one guy that helps us with trust. The Santa Monica has so stay away from California. Santa Monica has this, I think, law where if the tenant lived in that property for I think like 5 or 6 years or 5 plus years, then once you sell it, you have to split the profits with the tenant.
Really?
That's what he was saying. I'm like, no way.
Oh,
At least,
that's crazy.
yeah. So it's especially the ones in the near the beach. I didn't believe. I still don't believe him, but he was telling me. He was telling me this yesterday. I did hear something about it. Um, I don't know where, but somebody told me like, yeah, if you live in the property for however many years and you maintain the property with your own money, then you're entitled to something. I forgot what, like some once they sell it, like a profit, part of the profits or something like that. I don't know exactly where, but like he was telling me about Santa Monica yesterday.
That's crazy though. I mean, like I do kind of understand because if you put some money, like if you put your own money into renovating certain things as you're living there,
Hmm.
but again, like that's kind of like I feel like because like when I was in that position where I did that, I would just ask the landlord to pay me back for the renovations, right? And then they would. So asking for a share of the profit for that, like that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, man. So like California prices, like
Right.
little properties sold for 1 million, and then let's say profit is 500,000. I think you need to go up 50. I think he said it was 50-50 or a third of the profits. Yeah. So what's your goal? Like, how many doors do you want to have?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So like my 5-year goal is definitely going to be about I want to hit about 500 units. I believe that is possible. Maybe the first year grab like one or two, like 12 or 24 units, and
Mhm.
then, kind of scale up from there, right? Like just keep going and keep going. I did speak to a lot of investors, and I'm actually working with a couple investors in the Chicagoland area. So we will see how it goes.
Okay. So what's the plan like for people watching? Like how do you plan to? Because you don't have. I think you said you have a couple properties, right? How did you start with those properties?
It's a 4 unit.
Yeah.
So it's actually a 4 unit that my girlfriend, her parents, her mom wanted to get. And so I kind of comped it, and we kind of ran the numbers. It worked out. Turns out we didn't even need to run the numbers at all because she bought it all in cash anyways. So that kind of went out the window. But so they got the 4 unit, and I'm kind of helping running it a little bit. So that's pretty much the first property, and then we're looking into it right now because the restaurant might sell, right? So my restaurant, if things go well, it's gonna sell by next month on the 20th. So I'm probably gonna use some of the liquids from that and try to, invest in something. But that's kind of like on hold because we have to see if the buyer gets approved from the bank first, as far as that goes. And
Okay.
then and I mean that's pretty much it. All my other capital is gonna be tied up in the ghost kitchens because we gotta get those started.
Okay.
So my plan going forward with these multifamily properties is basically I'm just gonna go get a standard like commercial loan and use either a private money, PML or PMP to uh, get the down payment for those loans and just go forward from there.
Okay. So you're getting brand new loans, or you're implementing creative?
Well, it depends. I would love to get creative deals first, right? Because that
Mhm.
way my upfront cost is going to be a lot lower.
Right.
But I mean, I've heard that some people like a lot of commercial building owners, they are open to seller finance. But the ones that I've spoke to so far, they're straight up just like, no, I don't want any seller finance. I want just the exact payment up front. So it depends on the deal. I mean, if the numbers work out, I'm willing to go into a commercial loan for it as well.
Okay.
But creative, definitely.
Okay. So I didn't know you were gonna sell the restaurant. So I thought it was the ghost kitchen. So um if you want to, we'll go into that. But I thought you were gonna keep the restaurant and have ghost kitchen. So um tied to it. So my question is, what is the ghost kitchen?
Yeah. Well, for the restaurant part, I didn't know we were selling it either. So it was kind of a surprise. It's
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, like family, right? So you can't
Yeah.
do much about that. But
Yeah.
ghost kitchens is an interesting concept. I think the best way someone brought it up, well, the best way someone brought it up was they saw an influencer, right, going out to Walmart and buying like frozen pizzas, and then creating a store on Uber and DoorDash, and all they do is just make those pizzas, pay for like special boxing and with their own brand, and use the frozen pizzas, and just when the delivery people come over, they give them the pizza and send it out. So Ghost Kitchen is something similar like that. So you would eventually, like essentially, rent out a space, like a kitchen space,
Hmm.
and so you run your business from there. So our plan, the person that I'm talking with the ghost kitchens, he's actually a commercial like construction developer, and so a couple people that he developed for, they're doing ghost kitchens. So you could kind of think of it like a small mall, and all the stores are kitchen fronts, right? So they're just kitchens, and then like it all connects into like a basement, like underneath all the stores. It's like one big basement. And they will have a freezer, walk-in cooler for your storage needs, and you could rent those out, like portion of those for store. And so you're just leasing out the kitchen, and then you just run your business as it is, right? So for us, it's going to be Korean food, and
Hmm.
so it we're just going to go to the platforms like Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, and that way we don't really have a storefront. We don't need to pay for hosts or servers or anything like that. So all of our overhead costs just gets cut out, and the only thing we need is like maybe what, two, three kitchen workers, like cooks. That's about it.
Okay. So is that the like servers and hosts and all that? Is that really a big expense?
Like it is and it isn't, right? Servers typically get paid for themselves with tips, right? Over
Right.
here in Chicago, the minimum wage, I believe it went up, but it was about like $10 an hour, and then they get
Mhm.
the tips. But one of the major things that kind of changed my mind is because with Illinois, I think it's Chicago or Illinois, but they want to raise the minimum wage for servers. And so when that happens, typically two things can happen with a restaurant, which is one, you're going to have to eliminate half of your server workforce. And as a restaurant owner, you can't do that, right? Because that means service goes down. So the only other option is increase the prices of the menus, and no one's going to be happy with that. So
Yeah.
if the menu prices raise because the minimum wages of servers raise, then customers also aren't going to be tipping as much because they know that the server minimum wage went up. So right now, our servers are making about $30 to $35 an hour, including their tips. And if this thing does go through, I mean, it's gonna shoot down dramatically, maybe up down to like 25, 26.
Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, I think I heard that from California as well. Like they raised the minimum to like
Right,
eight. I know if you were the one that told me that it was like 18 an hour. So
right.
now, even for fast food, so now even fast food restaurants are putting those computers, those big screens to make your
Yep.
own order. Yeah, so they can save on labor. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
corporate can do that. They can eliminate their workforce like that. Small businesses, it's a little harder, but yeah.
Yeah. I actually saw when we were in Boston when we were exploring, we went our separate ways. So we went to a tea shop and they had those machines.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there was only one lady in the kitchen area
Hmm.
preparing the teas, but the order taker was a little screen. It was two, they had two screens. And it was a small shop. It was like very mom and pop shop, and it was like nobody was in there. We were the only ones in there. And I was like, I'm surprised they have that already. But I'm assuming that eventually they'll become more and more common, and
Oh yeah.
somebody will offer it to like people that have restaurants. Hey, instead of you getting a server, like, hey, just release my two screens so people can order from there, or
Oh
just do an app as well.
yeah. For me, I feel like that's where the industry is going to go, especially the food industry. Um, in Chicago, I've already kind of seen it. There's this one hot pot place that we went to, and you know how like a lot of restaurants are already implementing like QR codes for their menu, right? Well,
Right.
this one is you scan the QR code, and just like any other hot pot place where you do it on the tablet, well, you just do it on your phone. You're like, I want the noodles, I want the meat, I want this and this and this, and it gets sent to the kitchen. So the server needs to do nothing besides come out with your drinks and then come out with like the food when it's ready for the hot pot. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I feel like that's going to be the new thing that's going to happen with the restaurants as well. Like you said, the small mom and pop shops are getting it. I did have a couple people reach out to us as well for that. Um, and on top of that, the AI phone line where you can just order it over the phone.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that one.
yeah,
Okay.
that's interesting too.
Yeah. The future, man. The future. So, in real estate, like, what is it that you're looking like? What do you need help with? Like, how can somebody like me help you achieve the goal of having a couple or many doors to leave a legacy for your family?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for more PMLs or PMPs, open
Mhm.
to both. That's pretty much it for now as it is. Or anybody who's more like who wants to like JV on a deal, if they got like a great deal, like a multifamily deal, and they're like, oh, the numbers just work, and you send it over to me if it works. I mean, we can go into it together, right? And work on it together and just get the PMLs and PMPs for the down payment, or creatively if that works too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So how's your network? Because you're gonna have a big network to get those PMPs. So a lot of
Oh,
people, this is my experience, right? So in my experience, people will lend you money, but they want their money back within 6 months, and they want a decent return, like 10 to 12 is the typical in Vegas,
right.
and they want the money back in 6 months or less. So finding a private money partner, at least in my experience, I haven't really looked for it, but it's a little complicated.
No, it is. Like so it depends on your lender, right? And the strategies you use. Because for example, yeah, if I'm working with the PMLs and yeah, they want their money back right away because they're like, oh, like I don't want it being tied up in one deal. I want to keep using it, get all my interest in this and that. So, you you would just basically look for like value add for multifamily, right? It's similar to like a fix and flip. So you would look for like multifamily where the value is kind of low, because it needs a lot of work, whatever it would be, renovations or whatnot. So then you use the PML for the down payment there, and then you fix it up, get it reassessed for a higher value, and then you could just cash out refi and just pay the PML back. And that's like probably the only option for the PMLs in my opinion for multifamily, if you can do
Okay.
something like that. So yeah, my network right now is exactly like yours right now. Like a lot of PMLs, not a lot of PMPs, because like I said, a lot of them don't want their capital tied up in one asset for like multiple years. So it makes sense, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm speaking with a couple people, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. How do you typically pitch it to them?
Well, it depends on the deal, but with the PMP, I actually just spoke with Alec Walsh, and
Okay.
he has two ways of doing his PMP deals. The first way is new to me, like that's what he typically does. But for me, I've always heard of the second way, which is basically the deal is like within like a time frame, maybe like 5 years or so. um you know all the cash flow that comes out, it'll pay the PMP back, right? So let's say the PMP invested, just make things easier, $100,000. So if they made invested $100,000 for the down payment, within the next 5 years the cash flow should pay 50 to 100% of that $100,000. And then and then on the exit, which for me would be like a cash out refi because I want to hold the property, right? So when I cash out refi, and they made 50,000 for 5 years in cash flow, then I would just pay them out $150,000. So in those 5 years, they made an extra $100,000 on their investment.
So that's basically their interest, right? Their profit, the
Right,
extra 50K. Okay.
right.
Then you'll
So
be paying. So let's say it's 5 years. That's 60 months. Let's call it 100 months just to make it easy. So they let you borrow 100,000 for 100 months. So you pay them $1,000 a month.
so you would basically tell them like, you get a share in the equity, right? The equity of the multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I use that 100,000 as like a example would be, if they gave $100,000, and then in 5 years the equity obviously of the property would rise up. So like if they invested 100,000, whatever the cash flow was throughout those 5 years. So our example was 50,000. They got $50,000 in cash flow, and then you would get you would essentially like double your investment in 5 years, right? So if you did 100,000, you would get $200,000 back. So however you make that equal to 200,000. So like if the property sells, or you cash out refi, and then you take that money, you just make sure that their money doubles, because there's no other investment that will double their money like that, right? Or another option would be keep them on as a private money partner, which I've seen a lot too. That's something that I'm interested in as well. Is even if you cash out refi, you split the profit with your PMP, but they still stay on the property, and you would still split the cash flow for as long as they want to stay in the deal until you buy them out.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that with um, what's the clever investor's name?
Oh, it starts with a C, right?
Yeah. Cody Sperber.
Cody. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he was offering on his he had a couple of Airbnbs either ready or almost ready in Arizona. So what he was offering was like, hey, let me borrow call it 100K. Let me borrow 100K, and whatever the the property generates, 100% of the net profit will go to you until you get paid off. Once you get paid off, you still own, I think it was like 25% of the equity of the ownership. You still get 25% of the ownership. Like, so if they sell it in the future, they still get, if there's profit, you get the investor will get 25%. And then I think after the owner gets, the private money partner gets paid off, I think that would go like 50-50 on the cash flow. So they get paid off. Obviously, they'll charge like a management fee and somewhere in the middle, so they can make something while they get paid off. I think he was controlling the management side as well, so he'll get a little bit, but all the surplus will go to the investor, and then you just keep accountability. And then once he gets paid off, like, all right, then from here on, we're going 50-50 on the cash flow. And then and you're 25% owner of the property. So that's how he was presenting it. Did he get any people? I don't know. I wasn't following it too closely, but that's how he pitched it. And I was like, makes sense. I would probably do that if I had the 100K available. I would probably do that. I don't know if the project died, or I don't know what he did with it, but that's how he was pitching it.
I think so, because like the method that I was using is what I kind of picked up from I think it was Grant Cardone's courses. I forgot which one, but that was the method I was picking up. And then his is similar, where he gives them a share of the equity. So you know, just keeping them on long term as a partner and all that. There was another one that I heard, which was it was like 7 to 8% annualized interest rate to the PMP, and then what was it? So like it's like every year you get like a 7 or 8% back on your return on your investment, and then at the end of the year they pay you out your capital plus like equity as well, I believe. Kind of similar to like what Cody was doing.
Every year? How would they pay the equity?
I think it's through the cash flow. It's through cash flow where they pay the 7% equity. So I'm not. I think that route they might not even get the cash flow. I'm not too sure how that would go. I would have to ask more on that one, because it's something that I just recently heard. So
yeah. I'm not experienced either. I'm just telling you what I heard too.
Yeah, it's just what I'm learning right now. So
are you part of Sub 2 now?
Yeah, I've been part of Sub 2 since March this year. Yeah, March.
Since Owners Club, since Squad Up Summit, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I think it was like a month before Squad Up Summit. So I joined. Well, I rejoined in March because I had to pause payments because of my surgery. So then March came along, and I could, you know, everything was taken care of medically and all that. So we went back in, and then it was hectic, man. You know, I rejoined Sub 2, and like, hey, Squad Up is like next month or something like that, or in 2 months. I'm like, what? Okay, so I joined Squad Up, like Owners Club, and I'm like, what? Okay, I'll do this. And it's like every month there's one thing or another now with Owners Club too. So it's been great.
That's how it is, man. That's how they make their money, like at the education part.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of education part, have you thought about your workshop yet?
I have not. So I've been trying to figure out what value I can bring, right, to people. So what I can teach them. Because obviously, you know, like I want to get into the real estate space, and I'm not going to go into the real estate space and be like, guys, who wants to be a restaurant owner, right? Everybody knows the profit margins in restaurants aren't that great. But one thing is I took the Clifton's strengths test. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
So like Clifton Strengths is like you answer like I think it was like almost like 100 questions, right? Where it'll ask you questions, and like you agree, you strongly agree, strongly disagree, or you disagree, or something like that. And it tells you basically like what your strengths are. And so I took it, and then just yesterday I went on a call with Rosie Noel. You know, I got a little one-on-one with her, and she was explaining to me like, okay, so these are your strengths and this and that. And it turns out like I am pretty much like an integrator, which like I kind of had a feeling, but I was so prideful. I'm like, oh, I want to be like everybody else, I'm a visionary. I'm a visionary because I have all these ideas. And she's like, yeah, you could still be an integrator and have ideas. Like, I'm trying to now like focus on my strengths because obviously, like, when I'm running the restaurant, I put in a lot of different like systems and processes to make it run smoother.
Okay.
So I knew I was an integrator. It was just like my pride. But yeah, now I'm just trying to learn more about real estate and try to see what value I can bring as an integrator to other people and find a partner to work with and then just go from there too.
Okay. Like for example, what systems did you develop in your restaurant business?
Yeah, so oh man, we were old school, dude. Like our restaurant was like the old school, like back in like the 80s, right? Where you go and then the waitress will just come up, what's your order, and write it down on the check and papers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and even our supplies and everything was just like a mess, right? And so eventually what I had to do was I noticed that a lot of our orders, because that's still a good system to use if it works for you, but a lot of our orders kept getting messed up because our waitress's handwriting was terrible, right? Like you can't read it, dude. Like, so I eventually set it up to printing it out first, and then I was like, okay, this isn't really working, and then because I wanted to avoid using the POS because to me it made no sense to use a POS because our business wasn't doing well. And then I was like, I need to increase our sales and like there's got to be a way to do it. And that's when I like took a step back, looked at the business. And I was like, okay, you know what? This we're doing a lot of carryouts. Seems like a lot like for a breakfast restaurant, it made no sense to do carryouts. No, but it made no sense for so many carryouts, but that's just how it is in our neighborhood. And so I was like, okay, if this is the case, why don't we take advantage of it and focus on more carryouts as well? So that's when I incorporated Uber into our business, Uber Eats.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had that going and we were slammed, right? Like at first it was slow and it just started picking up and picking up. And then once we had the cash coming in, I was like, okay, this is a good chance to change change to a POS system now because now we need it because we're getting so slammed with orders. Tickets are getting like out of place because we had a wheel like that big wheel and you just stick the
Yeah.
tickets on, spin it around.
Yep.
So and like I noticed like man, you know what? Like waitresses, they're like, oh, my order needs coming first. They'll look around and just sneak their like ticket underneath, and I'm like, no, no, no. So we switched to a POS system as far as that goes too. So we had to do that, and yeah, I mean it's been great ever since. We had to. It's crazy. We actually had to take away phone orders because it was going so bad, right? Like there was just so much. I actually might hire someone just to sit down on the phones because that's essentially what it comes down to in the weekends. The phones just keep running off the hook, and you can't do anything else but take orders. So, what else? We set up for the delivery. Oh man, like it was rough because our our bread people they increased the prices of our bread, right? So you can like a loaf of bread at the restaurant. I mean, a loaf of bread at like a store costs about what 215 to 230. The cheaper ones, and then like when you go higher up, it averages like three something or whatever. And so they were charging. It's like a loaf and a half, and they were charging like $8, $9 for it. So yeah, so I was like, no, like that's crazy, like that's like triple the price. Like it makes no sense. And so I'm the way I do things, I try to think outside the box a little bit. We have a Sam's Club membership, we have like a Restaurant Depot membership, which is where we get most of our supplies. Um, and so with Sam's, I just kind of figured, you know what, with the cost for delivery, because the delivery cost isn't really that much. All we really need to do, because if you order over a certain amount, you get free delivery. So all you need to do is just tip the driver. It's like $10. You tip the driver $10. They're happy with it. You're happy with it. It's better than paying for bread that's like overpriced plus their delivery fee and all that. And so now it's actually kind of funny. Now we get this driver coming from Sam's to our restaurant, right? With like, I think it's like 40 loaves of bread coming in. So, so you see that it's funny, but it works out, right? Like it makes sense. Like the numbers do really well with there. And yeah, I mean, it's like a small portion. of it, and then the delivery was also a big issue as well. Nowadays, I'm what I'm trying to do now is just implement the POS system into creating like a morning list for our delivery, so that way we can just send it straight there. They can get the order ready for us, and we just pick it up and come back.
Nice.
Yeah.
So all that you're selling.
Huh?
You guys are selling that now that you implemented it.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's
So
doing well. But yeah.
okay. So did the opportunity just came in like, hey, I want to buy your restaurant, or
Yeah.
were you guys advertising it?
See, so that's why I'm saying like family. It comes down to family because
Yeah.
you know, sign a seller finance contract to like buy out the rest of my family, right? But yeah, I mean, they signed a contract with the broker before my contract.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know too much about that, and so
Yeah.
that's why I said I'm like kind of stuck in this situation. And I mean, what am I gonna do? Take my family to court? No, absolutely not, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it works out because the restaurant does take a lot of time. I was changing a couple things so that way I could just take my time out of it and just get
Mm-hmm.
the cash flow. But I mean, whatever God throws at me, I'll just take it and just move on to the next venture anyway. So
Yeah. That's how
if it
you.
right, so if it works
Uh,
this way, it works. Like whatever profits we get from selling, I'll just use that to invest as a PML too.
yeah, man. So see, I told you, bro. Like we've been at it for 30 minutes, and I feel like we're barely scratching the questions that I want to ask you. I want to ask you about partnerships, like with your family. How
Right.
do you treat that? Like, how do you manage that? Because fam, being in business with family is different than being in business with like friends or other people, right?
Yeah.
It's a different mechanics, different situation. I want to ask you about um, like your contracts. Like, how do you think about um, when did you know that you had to take a step out of the business and look at it and look for those inefficiencies? Because when you're in the business, like you think and everything's running, you don't actually like put yourself in a different perspective. You think like everything's running, don't fix what's not broken. That's what at
Right.
least comes into my mind, right? So when did you like? I have a million of questions for you in the business, so but like we're running out of time, and I want to keep this one short, so we'll probably do episode 2.
Yep.
So yeah, man. So you're looking, basically to summarize, you're looking for multifamily in landlord-friendly states, because you want to build a legacy, and you're looking for private money partners and
Right.
lenders to fund those stores that you're looking for, right?
Right.
Okay, perfect. So and then you have like you need that. What can you give back? Like what's the one thing that you can help other people?
Yeah. So right now I'm trying to get together like understanding more about systems and process for real estate. So
Mm-hmm.
once I gain more, because like I said, I'm still new to the real estate space. So once I gain an understanding of that, I would I would like to help out like as an integrator somehow, right? Whether it's there was someone I spoke to at owners actually who was talking about how he wants to be like a consultant to help with the integration. So I might reach out to him and try to partner with him. Maybe we can do something with that. But because from what I've heard and when I'm talking with like a lot of people at owners, they all want integrators. They want people who can help integrate their business. Um, so we'll see, because I'm also talking with someone else, and I'm like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, why do I need to do this? I'm like, because all your time is tied up into this. Like get out so you can focus on whatever else you're doing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I would like to help out that way. So we'll see.
Okay.
I gotta understand real estate a little more though.
Yeah. I mean, you got to jump into it, man. Like
Right.
you just have to. We started real estate without having like a lot of knowledge. We
Mm.
just like screw it, let's just go for it. And the one thing that we did have is reading contracts, so and understanding the contracts. So like, all right, we're jumping into this, but like, is there a way out? Like
Mm.
just in
Right.
case. Like so, um, that's how we do things, we get ourselves in trouble on purpose, so we can learn new stuff. And then that's how I learned. It's like
Right. No, it's the only way to learn, though.
yeah, I'm a slow learner. When it came to school, I was very slow learner, but I learn more faster and better when I jump into those problems myself and try to solve them. Yeah, but yeah, man, we'll have to do a second episode. I don't want to make this one too long,
Right.
and we said 30 minutes, we went over. Uh, yeah. So anything else you want to add?
Not really. I mean, like one thing I will say, like to anybody viewing, is one thing I struggle with a lot is I tend to overthink a lot, right? I'm the type that's like I need to learn everything before I jump in, you know. And it sounds like you're the type that's just like screw it, I'm jumping in, let's go, right? We learn as we make the mistakes. Look, why don't we see where we're at now? Like I've been learning about real estate for like 3-4 years, right? Still haven't had a deal yet, so now I'm just jumping in. And you jumped in and look how many deals you've done, right? It's amazing. So
Yeah.
I will say stop overthinking, stop like trying to learn everything, and just like, if you join a good community like Sub 2, I've seen a lot of people just jump in and then they'll just post on there, hey, I'm going through this, I'm having this issue. No, how do I get over it? And then all these people comment and they're like, do this, do that, or reach out to this person, reach out to that person. So yeah, absolutely jump in.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, thanks so much, Dan. To find you, how do we find you? Like if we want you, I don't know, like you look at my business and see if you can propose something, a new system, a new process. Like how do we contact you? What's your phone number? How do we find you on social media?
Yeah, I mean, you can just reach out. I'm getting better at social media, so you can definitely reach out to me. Instagram is Dan Chong REI, and I just created. I mean, like I didn't just create it, but I'm getting started. So you can ignore like the old posts from 2019, and then like 2 new posts from this year. That's it. But I'll get it started. So yeah, you can definitely reach out to me from there, and then yeah.
Okay, and then
I'll
for
reach out.
the multifamily, if we have a deal, you're a buyer. How do what's your typical buy box like? Like what are you looking for in number of doors? We already talked about locations, but like price and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, number of doors right now, I'm looking anywhere between 5 to 24, right?
Mhm.
So I, I'm focusing more on the smaller side, so 5 to 24 units. Um, and price, depending on the price, like price, it depends on if the numbers work out, right? So because I am working with someone, and if the numbers work out, we're like he's willing to work with me. We're willing to just jump into that deal. So if the numbers work out, I feel like price point, obviously nothing too high for my first deal, but like anything else, it'll probably be around like the like 6 million, 10 million, something around there, and
Okay.
then
Shit.
just going from there. Yeah,
Oh, that nothing too high. That's high for
that,
us.
it, it's high, but like I'm also working with someone who's doing bigger deals, so I'm kind of lucky on that. So yeah, I mean, I mean, it really depends. Something me by myself, I would probably just go for like a 4 to 6 unit, right?
Mhm.
And then just go from there and just scale up. But if I'm JVing with someone else, it's a different story, and he has
Yeah,
experience. I can just hop on that. So
yeah. Sounds good, man. All right. So if anybody has a deal for Dan, they will buy it. So contact Dan. I'll put his information on the bottom, and then we'll go from there. Dan, so thank you so much. We'll definitely do episode 2. I have those questions for you that I think they're really important on the partnership. I think this like I've been burned before. I want to talk a
right,
little bit about that in debt. So we'll schedule something.
okay, sounds great.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and stay tuned for episode 2.